In this video, we're going to be ranking every single weapon from the Black Ops 6 beta from worst to best. I spent the entire weekend playing the beta non-stop, testing out all 14 weapons so that you didn't have to. I'll be detailing my experience with every gun, and this list is based on my own personal opinion on how the weapons feel to me, rather than the actual stats for the weapons themselves. But before we get to the ranking, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and in the comments below, let me know what your favorite weapon of the beta has been so far. With that all out of the way, let's get into it. Kicking things off at the bottom, we have the worst weapon in the beta, which is the Marine SP shotgun. I was so excited to try this out when the beta first launched because the Mastercraft you get in the Vault Edition has arguably the coolest weapon inspection out of all of them. Unfortunately, the Marine is actually garbage. You can tell Treyarch has heard all the complaints over the years about the shotgun balancing because this thing literally fires Nerf pellets. I'm not even exaggerating, without any of the attachments on it, the Marine ends up being a 3, sometimes a 4-shot kill, which is just unacceptable for a shotgun in medium to close range combat. Of course, as you level it up, you'll unlock attachments to help make the gun a little more viable, but honestly, it's not even worth the initial headache of going quadruple negative just to make it 2-shot enemies consistently. Only slightly ahead of the Marine, we have the Sigma 2B rocket launcher. Year in and year out, the rocket launchers aren't really used for much besides being an annoyance in the camo grind, taking down aerial kill streaks, and pissing off the 9-to-5ers after they get home from a long day of being chewed out by their boss, and in Black Ops 6, it's much of the same. What makes the Sigma even more relevant is the fact that the Overwatch helo is incredibly weak right now. It's not even worth equipping because you're more likely to die omniing off the map than you are to get taken out by the helo. Maybe once the full game releases and more kill streaks become available, the Sigma will become more useful, but as it stands, it's really just going to collect dust. At the number 12 spot, I've placed the GS45 pistol. I have a feeling the pistols are going to be really underpowered throughout the course of Black Ops 6's life cycle. Also, I feel like the pistols in the modern Call of Duty titles in general have been extremely hard to use. Obviously, there's been a few exceptions like the Renetti and Diamatti, but overall, I just feel like they've mostly been pretty underwhelming. The GS45 does improve when you unlock rapid fire, but again, who the hell wants to burn 4 hours of the beta trying to get a pistol leveled up into its 20s? I can't hate on it too much though, because it'll be absolutely one of the most used bullet weapons in zombies this year as it becomes the Mustang and Sally's once it's Pack-a-Punch. Before you start complaining about the Mustang and Sally's not being the upgrade for the 1911, they legally can't use the name, so better to have them back on a random weapon than not have them at all. Moving up to the barely viable weapons, we have the knife. Yes, I've really placed the knife above the shotgun, one of the pistols, and the rocket launcher. This year, the melee weapons have their own designated slot, which takes some getting used to, but I honestly have grown to like the change. The knife, of course, gives you a much faster movement speeds when holding on to it, and the swing speed is really quick. Couple that with Omni movement, you become pretty hard to stop in close quarters combat. There's really nothing special to the weapon itself, but the Apothicon-esque Mastercraft is really sick and definitely going to be one of the main melees in Zombies 2 moving forward. It wouldn't be a Black Ops game without a Dragunov type sniper, and the SVD really fills that void. The SVD is an okay weapon, but most of the time it takes 2 shots to kill an enemy, which is really annoying on a sniper. The handling and movement speed is pretty nice, but the flinch resistance and recoil control is again annoying to put up with, especially when everyone in the lobby is using ARs or SMGs. The SVD can be good if you excel with it, but I don't, and that's why I've ranked it pretty low on this list. Number 9 goes to the 9mm PM pistol. This is the only other pistol in the game besides the GS45, but it's much of the same. I do enjoy it a little more because it shoots a little bit faster, but again, I've really had some trouble using the pistols in the last few renditions of COD. I do, however, like the movement with the PM. Visually, at least, I feel like it's much less weighed down compared to the GS45. Now, if you level up the PM and kit it out, it gets much better, so I'd suggest throwing it on and using it whenever you need to instinctually swap weapons, so when you really go to customize it, you've already got it leveled up a few times. I could argue that all of the remaining weapons to be ranked up could be in the meta for the launch of the game, and much of this is going to become subjective on your personal playstyle. With that said, the XMG LMG comes in at number 8. The more I use it, the more it grows on me. The handling and mobility of it are actually fairly solid for an LMG, and the damage is high, and it has a lot of ammo, which is great because I found myself relying on my ammo packs once I start to reach the top of my score streaks. The only downside of the XMG is that it doesn't shoot as fast as the remaining weapons on this list, so you're not going to be outgunning anyone using it, but if you play more slowly and wait for enemies to run into your line of sight, you'll probably enjoy this gun. Smack dab in the middle at number 7, we have the AK-74. This is easily the hottest take I have on this list, as I know a ton of players have been extremely fond of this gun throughout the weekend. While it does really start to heat up once you have unlocked rapid fire, I just feel like it's still pretty bullet spongy unless you're consistently getting headshots. The movement speed with it feels as slow as the XMG as well, and in a game where movement is king, it's hard to justify putting it any higher. That said, it's still a really good weapon and perfect for medium range combat. When you're on with this gun, you're on, and you can definitely rack up some kills quickly. Number 6 goes to the LR 7.62 sniper rifle. Obviously the beta is slim pickings for weapons, especially for sniper rifles, but I would bet money that this is going to be the best sniper when the game launches. The ADS and movement speed is a bit slow when you first unlock it, but after you beef it up with some attachments, it really starts to give off that DSR vibe from Black Ops 2. I play keyboard and mouse, so naturally I'm going to have a better time with the snipers than most people, but there's no bias here. The LR feels great, and it will definitely be one of the first weapons I go for gold with when the game releases. We've officially reached the top 5, and every single weapon from here on out is elite with minimal, if any, drawbacks. The AMES 85 was my favorite weapon on day 1 as it has one of the coolest looking mastercrafts in the Vault Edition, and it plays like the Krig reincarnated from Black Ops Cold War. The default class is an absolute beam, but it does feel like it just takes one extra bullet too many to kill enemies. Again, it's absolutely fantastic and one of the few guns that can beat the SMGs that are currently in the game. I even love the noob tube attachment that comes built into the mastercraft. I find myself getting the first kill of my kill streak with it and then switching back over to the bullets to rack up the kills. While it is a really elite weapon, there are just a few more out there that are slightly better. At number 4, we have the most underrated weapon in the beta, the SWAT. The SWAT has been overlooked by many people, myself included, throughout the entire weekend, but at the time of recording this video, it is absolutely the sleeper of the game. With no attachments at all, you can one-burst enemies directly to the head, and its greatness is only amplified with additional attachments. I have no idea why I wasn't using this weapon all weekend. Much like many of the other weapons, its only real drawback is that it struggles to stop SMG players up close. But for medium to long range, the SWAT is deadly and easily the underdog of the beta. I would highly recommend trying it out during weekend 2, as I can imagine some of the other weapons might get a balancing patch, and this one can fly under the radar to stay exactly how it is now. The third best weapon in the beta has to be the C9. On day 1, this was pretty overlooked due to some of the other weapons, but by day 2, it became a staple for many players. SMGs are going to be the meta this year due to Treyarch wanting to push players to use the Omni movement system. The C9 is an absolute beam, and if you build it for movement, you'll be moving around the map like a cheater on a 25mg XR Adderall. Sometimes I feel like the damage with it can be slightly inconsistent, and you might not be able to beat some of the ARs at medium to long range, but trust me, you're going to get a few clips sliding around with this thing. The second best gun in the beta, by far, has to be the XM4. The XM4 can absolutely shut down any weapon from any distance if you hit your shots. I can't stress this enough, you have to get it leveled up and put some attachments on it before it becomes a fryer, but trust me though, once you get it at least halfway leveled up, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's virtually no recoil at all, it outputs high damage, and you can move almost as quickly as you can with the SMGs. There aren't any drawbacks to the XM4 other than the ammo, but that's more of a widespread thing across the guns in Black Ops 6 rather than it being specific to the XM4. That leads us all the way to the top. The absolute pinnacle of all weapons so far in the Black Ops 6 beta is none other than the Jackal PDW. From minute 1, every single lobby has been filled with sweats running the Jackal. As of right now, it has to be one of the top 5 most overpowered weapons in Call of Duty history given the state and build of the game. The Jackal can easily outgun anything, even at long range combat. It's seriously better than any of the ARs, and it will certainly be receiving a nerf because the kill feeds have been nothing but Jackal spam all weekend long. It's extremely fun to use, but once you start experimenting with other weapons, you'll really see how OP this thing is and why it needs to be nerfed. That said, everything about the gun is crazy, down to the Vault Edition Mastercraft. If you're a fan of the Jackal, today and tomorrow are probably your last 2 days of glory using it, as I can't see Treyarch letting this stay in for weekend 2, as especially with millions of people getting ready to experience the game for the first time, they're definitely going to patch it. Anyways, that was all the weapons in the Black Ops 6 beta ranked from worst to best. I just want to say that this beta has absolutely been incredible so far. There's, of course, a few bugs and some fine-tuning that needs to be done, but this is easily one of the most polished betas ever in Call of Duty history. The only thing that I think comes close to this is the Black Ops 3 beta from back in the day, but overall, Treyarch has absolutely smashed this game so far. If you're watching this and thinking it looks like the same game from the last few years, I strongly urge you to try it out next weekend when the beta is open to everybody to play. I'll always be unbiased when it comes to my multiplayer takes, and I can confidently say this game plays like a Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 hybrid. The overall aesthetic and vibe from these maps gives Black Ops 2, while the movement and gameplay feels akin to Black Ops 3 if the boosting and jetpacks were disabled. I cannot wait for the full release of this game next month, and I have no idea what I'm going to do in the meantime because I can't get enough of this game. Let me know what your thoughts on the beta are in the comments below if you've played it, and what you'd rank it on a scale from 1 to 10. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and until next time, stay safe.